Okay, awesome. Hi, my name's Roan. My project is called Three Rivers Awareness, and my two project mentors were Bhavani Patel and Missy Paxton. So first, some of my self-discoveries that I've made throughout the launch program have been that it's really important to celebrate progress. So I tend to be really hard on myself, and like when I finish one project, I just move on to the next. But launch has really taught me that it's so important to celebrate how far I've come and just acknowledge that there have been triumphs along the way, and it's important to just like take a step back and appreciate that. My next discovery has been to push myself. Sometimes I can just settle into my comfort zone and like I'm good there, but I've learned that it's really important to always be trying new things, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable for me, because that's how I grow as a person. And often this leads to really good results and just a fun time that I otherwise would not have participated in. So thinking positively and having hope has been like at the core of my launch experience. So normally this is something I try to do all the time, but being around such a positive group of women and girls has reminded me that through any dark time, it's important to look at the light and just be able to keep trying, keep going, and look for the positives in any situation. And the last thing I've learned is just to have a stronger sense of self and confidence. Launch has taught me my strengths and my abilities, and just that it's so important to have confidence in myself and not put myself down. And to the right, I just have a saying that I like a lot. When it rains, look for rainbows, and when it's dark, look for stars. And I think that just embodies the message of hope that I've really taken from the launch program. So my Athena leadership principle that I chose is learn constantly. And to me, learning constantly is to live with a curiosity about new things and new people and being willing to adapt to any situation. So how I will do this, always considering alternative points of view. I'm really trying to learn constantly by learning about why other people think what they might think, even if it's disagreeing with what I think, to get a more holistic view of the situation. Again, pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, just trying new things, things that maybe I'm not super comfortable with, but pushing myself to do them anyway and learning how to do new things. And always being curious and adaptable, adapting to any challenges that might pop up instead of just being in denial and wishing that those challenges weren't there, because adapting can lead to really good situations that might not have been there before. So some of my mentor reflections, I got to meet 4 amazing mentors. So one of my mentors was Jennifer Van Dam, and she taught me that it's so important at work to have a supportive network of men and women to face challenges. So these are really people who will lift you up. Maybe if you're not receiving the credit that you deserve, they'll speak up for you and make sure that you get your due. Catherine Karalik taught me that my job should be my hobby, and it should be something that I really love to do. It should be something where I can like go to work and learn and enjoy what's happening, and not something that's a burden on myself. Dara Nielsen taught me that it's important to schedule in time during my day to just relax and do things for myself, because sometimes we just settle in like going all the time. But it's so important to just take some time to recharge so you can be your best self. And finally, Lauren Harrington taught me to start the day with gratitude. So a lot of times I wake up and I'm not very happy because I'm super tired and I just want to keep sleeping. But she taught me that it's important to recognize the good things about each day right from the get-go. To know that it's just amazing to be alive and to appreciate all the good things happening so you can start your day on a positive note. So what my advocacy looks like, I'm focusing on environmental protection and appreciating and really awareness about these solutions. So I'd like to advocate for solutions that will help humans live in a healthy balance with nature and live sustainably. And I think that the first step for this is educating people. So I firmly believe that education leads to appreciation, which leads to action. So I think if people knew the important environmental functions that are happening all around us, people would appreciate them more and want to do something to help the environment. So in Pittsburgh, this advocacy really focuses on river pollution. So there's a huge excess of trash in the rivers and along the shorelines, and it harms wildlife. I've seen geese trying to eat pieces of orange plastic before because they look like carrots. I love water skiing on the rivers, but when other people are skiing, sometimes I have to sit at the front and look for pieces of trash floating in the water because it's everywhere. So I'd like to do something about this and bring awareness to the situation. So I'm going to use an awareness campaign to do this. So it's going to be two-tier. Part of it will be on social media, and part of it will involve informational trail plaques. So these are my goals. The first goal is to create an educational page online or on social media. This will educate people about the river ecosystems in Pittsburgh, about the animals in our rivers and living around our rivers. So it will engage the public with the importance of rivers, letting them know why the rivers are important for the animals that depend on them, but also for us as people. And the second part will be making educational plaques or signs along riverfront areas that will have QR codes that take people to environmental organizations to really further people's involvement in protecting the rivers and let them know that there's a way that they can engage with the rivers and help clean them up. So my overall goal is to create increased awareness about the wealth of life that the three rivers support and the importance of keeping the rivers healthy. So I'm hoping that this will get more people involved in river protection and just appreciating the rivers overall. So how I'm going to go about this involves a lot of branding and marketing. So I'm going to make social media accounts on Instagram and maybe on Facebook too, just to spread information about the rivers, possibly writing an informative article in the newspaper to let people know about these sites and just about the river ecosystems in general. The next step will be to connect with local nonprofits like RiverLife who could help create these signs, and networking with outdoor organizations like REI for sponsorships, or maybe just to let people who come in the store know about these signs and about the accounts on social media that can educate them about the rivers. My ultimate goal is to create a self-guided river tour with a printable map that leads to these different plaques so people can bike ride or they can walk or run along the rivers and just learn about the different wildlife that they might see there. So my action plan, the first step is to research the wildlife and the plants living in and around the Monongahela, Ohio, and Allegheny rivers. So just gathering a lot of information that I can spread. My second step is creating online educational content about the rivers to really start engaging the public. My third step will be to connect with researchers and people who work at river-focused organizations to further this awareness campaign. And then the fourth will be to connect with these organizations like RiverLife to create these plaques with information about the ecosystems. And the plaques will also include QR codes that link to these organizations to help people stay involved. 5 will be creating a self-guided trail experience with these plaques. And 6 is maintaining a social media presence that will engage the community and teach people about the three rivers. So my tech integration. On the left is a picture of an environmental account that already exists called Sea Legacy. So I'm hoping that the account I create will look somewhat like this and will educate people about the rivers in kind of an exciting way. As you can see, the page is really colorful and it makes you want to look at the photos. So this will also be a learning experience for people. So I'm hoping to supply photos of the rivers, of the animals in the rivers, but also information about them. I'd like to create videos on social media that demonstrate how the river ecosystems work. So part of this might be partnering with the aquarium, and the aquarium staff can make a video walking viewers through how different freshwater ecosystems might work. And then again, the QR codes on plaques will help direct people to organizations that protect the rivers, and maybe provide volunteer opportunities so people can further their support. And the people involved, I definitely want to stay in touch with the mentors I've met through the launch program for guidance. They've been so essential to this process, and I'd love to continue to work with them. Professors conducting river research might have information about upcoming river projects, things going on with the rivers in current day. Leaders of the existing river-focused nonprofits can be partners for this project and really help with establishing these educational plaques. Leaders of environmental organizations can help with sponsorship, and can help really get the word out in communities. The staff of the zoo and the aquarium can assist with creating educational content, and environmental scientists will have a lot of information about the rivers. So my timeline is by February to have research collected and connections made with professors and researchers who are willing to supply information. By mid-March, I'd like to have an educational social media profile established, the content created, and to gain some public support. So I'm hoping for people from the public to send in maybe photos of their walks along the rivers, kayaking in the rivers, just to show people that the rivers are a great place to get outside. At the end of March, I'd like to present my plaque proposal to River Life, and maybe other organizations that could be involved, and also create an example plaque design. In April, I'm hoping to have these plaques designed and places along the rivers picked out. And then in May and June, that will hopefully be when the plaques are established. So at the start of summer, so then people throughout the summer can really enjoy this educational content. So my long-term goals are for an increase in community engagement with river protection. I'm hoping that showing people about all the life that's in and around the rivers will get them excited about river protection and let them know that the rivers aren't lifeless. There's a lot going on in them, and that people will be taking self-guided river tours and learning about the amazing ecosystems, staying connected through social media, and really just engaging with the rivers. So how I will identify success. On the right is kind of an example plaque. That's a little bit how I want the plaques to look, but maybe with different illustrations. So I like to have educational plaques established along the riverfront areas. That will be a measure of success for me. Having consistent community engagement through social media, with people sending in pictures and really engaging with the content that's created. Just overall more community awareness and interest in learning about the rivers. I could send out surveys to track this and see how much people are learning and if it's increasing, the motivation to get involved. And if people are taking self-guided tours of the river ecosystems. So that will really show that people are wanting to engage with the rivers and wanting to learn more about them. So this is my final slide. On the left, you'll see a picture that I took just the other night. And I think it highlights the fine balance of industrialization and the environment in Pittsburgh. So it's important to make sure that we're not encroaching on animals' habitats and we're still allowing the natural environment to thrive. So the hashtag for my project is 3 Rivers Ecosystems. And I just want to leave you all with a quote by my favorite poet, Mary Oliver. So she says, "What does it mean that the earth is so beautiful, and what should I do about it?" So thank you for listening to my presentation.
Rowan, such a perfect ending. And make sure that you guys are all reading the chat, just because there are so many of you who can continue to work together beyond this program. Honestly, thank goodness that this is not the end. I'm so happy about that because I wouldn't be able to let you go today. But for Miss Rowan, Bhavani, I want to give you a chance to be able to speak to her. And Missy, any final words?
I had such a wonderful time just chatting with Rowan. I think I could sort of echo a lot of the sentiments about just learning from the girls. Rowan has such a positive, like natural energy about her that, it's really wonderful to sort of listen to her ideas and listen to her speak so passionately about it. And specifically, I think what really spoke to me today about her presentation was obviously the idea, which is incredible. And I, really do look forward to, I hope that you pursue it. I think it's absolutely something that we need to see in the city of Pittsburgh. But also just this idea of appreciating the small wins as you're working. I think that that's something that really resonated with me. So thank you for sharing that and giving me an opportunity to also learn from you.